They just confirmed my worst nightmare. And honestly, I'm tired of pretending this is okay. So Hypergryph just dropped their second beta test stream for Arknights Endfield. And look, 90% of what they showed was absolutely incredible. We're talking new development in game's plot, new characters, jaw-dropping visuals, combat mechanics, and then some more features that had me sitting there thinking, okay, maybe I was wrong to worry. But then they hit us with the gacha system reveal. And just like that, every red flag I've been waving around for months got validated in the worst possible way. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Let me walk you through everything that happened in this stream because there's a lot to unpack here and not all of it is bad news. In fact, most of it is really good news, which is what makes the bad news so frustrating. Before I get into it, I just want to say this up front. I genuinely want Arknights Endfield to succeed. I've been following this game's development for a long time now. I love the original Arknights. I think Hypergryph is capable of amazing things. But what I saw in the stream has me concerned about the direction they're taking, and I think we need to talk about it honestly, instead of just riding the hype train off a cliff. Alright, so let's start with the good stuff, because there's actually a ton of it. The new trailer they showed was absolutely stunning. The character models look better than I expected. The cutscenes are cinematic quality, the environments are rich and detailed, and honestly, some of the best I've seen in a mobile game. They showed off this area called Wooling City, which is basically this perfect fusion of nature and technology. It's gorgeous. The whole vibe is this utopian vision where humanity figured out how to advance without destroying everything around them. Very different from the usual post-apocalyptic wastelands we see in gacha games. This is clearly going to be the area where you get that fantastical open-world exploration experience. They introduced a camera function, which is pretty standard at this point, but still nice to have. They also showed their version of what Wuthering Waves calls the sensor. Basically a tool that marks nearby chests and collectibles on your map within a certain radius. Quality of life features like this are always welcome. But here's something that actually surprised me in a good way. They're adding shared facilities. If you've played Death Stranding, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Other players can build structures in the open world, and you can stumble across them while exploring. Imagine you're out in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly there's a zipline someone else built that makes your traversal way easier. Or maybe there's a rest stop, or a teleport point, or whatever. This kind of asynchronous multiplayer interaction is really cool, and I'm glad they're implementing it. It makes the world feel more alive and connected without forcing direct multiplayer on people who just want to play solo. Combat is where things really started looking impressive. They introduced 4 new operators: Ardelia, Last Right, Pogranichnik, and Alesh. Pogranichnik is my personal favorite. This guy has a sword that extends into a bladed whip, and he commands a squad of 4 massive soldiers that look like they walk straight out of Warhammer. The visual design is top tier, but more importantly, the combat itself looks like it has real depth to it. They also revealed Team Z7, which is a group of 5 4-star rarity characters. These are almost certainly going to be your free starter units. They all belong to the same class and damage type, which is interesting from a design perspective. The devs are positioning these characters as pieces of a tactical puzzle. The idea is you can mix and match their abilities to create your own fighting style and trigger these impressive combo strings. We're talking juggling enemies, interrupting attacks, stacking debuffs, and chaining massive damage together. From what they showed in the presentation, it actually looks like you'll have real build variety and tactical options, instead of just spamming one attack over and over. The boss encounters also got a significant upgrade. Better sound design, better visuals, and more interesting mechanics. You can tell they've been putting work into making combat feel impactful and engaging. Now let's talk about the factory system, because this is where things get interesting and a bit controversial. They introduced a blueprint system that lets you copy, paste, and share factory layouts. On the surface, this sounds great, right? If you hate the factory building aspect, you can just download someone else's optimized layout and be done with it. But there's another side to this that people are worried about. See, some players actually enjoy the factory building. They find it fun and relaxing. But now with blueprints available, there's this concern that most players will just download pre-made layouts instead of engaging with the system themselves. And if nobody's engaging with the system, the devs might look at the data and decide it's not worth developing further. So they'll abandon it or put it on the back burner. Which means the people who actually enjoyed it get punished because everyone else wanted a shortcut. I understand both sides of this argument. Personally, I'm still going to build my factory manually because I actually like this type of gameplay. But I get why some people see the blueprint system as a double-edged sword. They also introduced the AIC Steward, which expands the buildable space for your factory. And there's a regional development system that lets you upgrade the surrounding area for industrial growth. We don't have all the details on how this works yet, but the concept is cool. The idea of developing the land around you to support Enfield's goals has a nice fantasy element to it. There were other features shown too. the Dijang, which serves as your customizable home base, an event called Edge Space Salvage, overall improvements to the mobile version of the game, all good stuff, quality of life updates, and new content to engage with. Everything I just described sounds amazing, right? This is shaping up to be a really solid game with a lot of depth and polish. The production values are through the roof. The gameplay looks engaging. The world looks beautiful. So, what's the problem? The gacha system. That's the problem. Arknights Endfield was copying way too many systems from Hoyo and Kuro games. The open world structure, the combat design, the progression mechanics, a lot of it felt derivative instead of innovative. Well, guess what? We can add another similarity to the list. Limited character banners. The devs confirmed in writing that 6-star characters will not be added to the standard pool after their banner ends. Let that sink in for a second. This is a fundamental shift from how the original Arknights operates. In the original game, new characters get added to the standard pool after their rate-up banner expires. You can still pull them anytime. You're not forced to get them during a limited window or miss out forever. Now, some people will point out that the pity is lower. You get a guaranteed 6-star within 80 pulls, and the on-banner character is guaranteed at 120. That's better than some games, sure. But that's not the point I'm making here. The point is, they didn't need to do this. They had a perfectly functional system in the original Arknights that respected players' time and money. A system that reduced FOMO and let people play at their own pace without feeling like they were missing out on characters forever. They could have kept that system. They chose not to. Why? Because limited banners make more money, plain and simple. Look at how much revenue Hoyo games generate. Look at how Wuthering Waves monetizes. The formula works. Prey on people's fear of missing out, create artificial scarcity, and watch the money roll in. From a business perspective, I get it. I'm not naive. These companies exist to make profit, but I'm not part of their business. I'm their customer. And I'm exhausted by all these psychological tricks and manipulative systems designed to drain my wallet. This is where my disappointment really sets in, because this one decision confirms a pattern. It shows that Hypergryph looked at what Hoyo and Kuro are doing and said, yeah, we want that money too. They're not trying to innovate or offer an alternative. They're trend chasing. They're playing it safe by copying what works instead of trusting their own vision. And here's what really worries me. If they're willing to copy this system, what else are they going to copy? What if the class system they showed turns out to be meaningless? What if defenders and supports get completely sidelined, just like in Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero? What if the team-building depth they're promising is just marketing speak, and we end up with the same tired formula of 2 damage dealers? 1 buffer, 1 healer? What if gear crafting includes random substat hell? What if we're grinding for weeks trying to get the right combination of stats on a single piece of equipment while the game laughs at us? What if the endgame content is just another time attack mode? The same stagnant damage per second check that every single gacha game seems obsessed with, where the only thing that matters is how fast you can kill enemies and nothing else. These aren't wild accusations. These are legitimate concerns based on observable patterns. Every single one of these problems exists in the games that Hypergryph is clearly taking inspiration from. And if they're willing to copy the monetization, why wouldn't they copy the rest? The live stream started so well, I was genuinely excited. I thought maybe I was wrong to be skeptical. Maybe Hypergryph would prove that you can make a successful gacha game without resorting to all the predatory nonsense. But then, they revealed the limited banners, and it all came crashing down. It was like a reminder that it doesn't matter which company is making the game. Hypergryph, Hoyo, Kuro, doesn't matter. As long as they think they can get away with it, they'll implement every manipulative practice in the book to maximize profit. Player experience comes second. Monetization comes first. This stream reinforced something I've learned over years of playing gacha games. Never let your guard down. Never get swept up in the hype. Always be critical. Always question the systems being put in place. Because these companies are not your friends. They're businesses that want your money, and they will use every psychological trick available to get it. Now I know some people are going to say, I'm doom posting. That I'm being too negative. That I should just enjoy the game for what it is. And look, I can see how it comes across that way. But let me be clear about something. I would much rather be making a video about how excited I am for Endfield. I would rather be hyping up all the cool features and talking about how I can't wait to play it. That would be way more fun. Instead, I'm sitting here worried about what other systems they're going to copy, what other corners they're going to cut, what other ways they're going to try to manipulate their players. Because here's the thing. Arknights Endfield is going to be successful. I have no doubt about that. The game looks too good to fail. The production quality is too high. The gameplay looks too polished. The premise is too interesting. It's going to make a ton of money and have a massive player base. But that success won't be because of these predatory systems. It'll be in spite of them. The game will succeed because the core experience looks genuinely good. Because the developers are talented. Because the Arknights brand has built up trust over years. Not because they copied Hoyo's monetization model. And that's what makes this so frustrating. They don't need to do this. They could be better. They could set a new standard. They could show the industry that you can make a profitable gacha game without all the manipulative garbage. But they're choosing not to. They're choosing the easy money instead of the right path. Here's the thing though, there's still a chance I'm wrong about all this. Maybe these similarities are just coincidences. Maybe my concerns are unfounded. Maybe the game will launch and prove that you can have limited banners without falling into all the other traps. Maybe the class system will matter. Maybe team building will have real depth. Maybe the endgame will be fresh and interesting. That's the hope I'm clinging to right now. Even though everything I've seen points to a clear pattern, I still want to believe that I'm just being paranoid, that I'm connecting dots that aren't really there. I said at the start that they confirmed my worst nightmare. And they did. But I genuinely hope I'm wrong about what comes next. I hope the beta reveals systems that are unique and player-friendly. I hope Hypergryph surprises us in a good way. I hope they prove that they're not just another company chasing trends for profit. I want to be wrong. I really do. Because being right about this means watching another game I was excited for fall into the same traps we've seen a dozen times before. It means watching another developer choose profit over player experience. It means watching the gacha genre continue down the same predatory path instead of evolving into something better. The beta test is coming. We'll get hands-on experience with these systems soon. Maybe that'll change my mind. Maybe I'll find out that my worries were overblown. Or maybe I'll find out that I was right all along and Endfield is just another clone with a different coat of paint. Either way, I'll keep you updated. I'll share my honest thoughts as we learn more, because that's what this channel is about. No blind hype, no corporate apologism, just honest discussion about the games we play and the industry that makes them. I'm disappointed but not surprised, hopeful but not optimistic, excited but cautious. That's the weird space I'm in right now with this game. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think I'm overreacting? Do you share these concerns? Are you planning to play regardless of the monetization? I'm curious to hear different perspectives on this because it's clearly a divisive topic. Thanks for watching.